So my overall evaluation, does it work? Yes. Was it worth it? That's up to each individual person. It was, to me, it was worth it in that I did see a noticeable difference. And would I recommend a person getting it? It depends. Anyway, that's all I got. Would I recommend it for my situation? Yes. Okay, I got this 44K fuel system cleaner from BG, and I was watching Scotty Kilmer, I guess, on the tubes, and he recommended this for cleaning your injection system. So I got some, and it wasn't cheap. I'll put the price in if I remember, but right there, the average fuel economy I've been getting is 19.5 in my Hyundai Santa Fe, and I'm going to roll in some footage of the moving average, or the moving fuel economy as I drive to work. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the fuel economy after I put in this 44K and see if it improves my fuel economy at all. I'm running at about half a tank. This car has a capacity of like 12 to 15 gallons depending on how low you run it, and so it's probably running about 6 gallons right now in the tank. So I'm going to run it to work, which will take it down another gallon, so probably 5 gallons, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm cruising at about 75, and the average miles per gallon is 19.4. So I'm going to change the display to current miles per gallon. So it's running about 24, 23, 24. And it'll fluctuate as the road conditions change. So let me turn the cruise control on. So now cruise control is on. Hopefully we get some consistent mileage readings, fluctuating between 21 and 23. It's not too bad for 129,000 miles on the car. I've never put this fuel treatment in. I'll put like STP fuel treatment in it, but that's like on a full tank. So I'm gonna put this stuff in with less than a half a tank to get more, get it more full strength, so to speak, or higher strength of stuff in the car. So we'll see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to update until I run out of, run it low, and then I'll refill the car, and then see if the gas mileage improves on the next fill up. There you go. Whew, smells kind of fishy, actually. It's weird. And it doesn't smell like the like diesel or what do you call it, like kerosene. There it goes. There's a little bit of petroleum smell in it, but yeah, it really smells weird. Okay, I'm gonna reset the gas mileage reading and run it for a few miles, see if it gets any better. I'm not expecting instant results, but I'll catch you up when if I see any difference in the next fill up or so. Okay, once I got to work, the gas mileage average was 19.5, so I'm going to reset it to 0 there, and of course it's going to be very low mileage while I'm driving around residential areas, but it'll I'm sure it'll pick up once I get to the highway. So I'll be back when I get to the highway and see if it levels out at all. been 3 days since I added the stuff into the gas tank, and this is actually the second trip because I work from home, long trip that I've taken in this car, and the mileage, the instant mileage, has kind of leveled out at about 21 miles per gallon, and it seems to be about the same, maybe a little bit worse, but I'm kind of anticipating that because it's dissolving all the gunk inside the fuel lines, the fuel tank, and inside the injectors. So I'm not overly concerned about the lowering of the instant gas mileage. So I'm almost on E. I'm trying not to dilute what I added, so I'll run it down to maybe, when the E light comes on, and I'll refill it and see how the gas mileage changes from there. I'm almost out of gas, so I'm gonna put a little more gas in the tank. It's average. Oh, there's the uni gas light. All right, so perfect. It's 18.9 average. That's running that BG stuff in there. So like I said, I expected it to be low because it's cleaning all the gunk out, and plus it's probably not as combustible as regular gasoline. So hopefully now I'm going to put some regular gasoline, and maybe well, we'll see if it makes a difference. Hang on tight. Okay, I filled it up this morning, and I had run 5 gallons through it after the initial 5 gallons with the BG ran out. So this is the first fill up after 5 gallons. Anyway, so the instant mileage seems to have come back to where it was, and it's kind of holding steady because it was fluctuating between 21 and 23, which is kind of what it's doing now, depending on whether there's wind or hail or something like that. But yeah, so far initially nothing significant is noticeable. Here's the average miles per gallon since I filled it up. So it was 19.5, so it's up to 19.9. So what I'll do before I finish out this video is I'm going to run this whole tank back down to E and see what the average miles per gallon ends up being, because you really have to consider the way you drive everywhere, not just on the highway, not just in the city. So a whole tank's worth of gas. Oh, now it hit 20. So I'm 0.5 miles per gallon average better than before I used it. So it's looking promising, so that's what, 2.5% increase, anecdotally. So we'll see at the end of this tank what it ends up being. I'm gonna go ahead and call this experiment done here. I've got about a quarter tank left, and this is the second day that there's been a wreck on this highway, which has pretty much blown the gas mileage in my experiment. But you just have to take my word for it. It's showing an average of 20.1 miles per gallon now, and when I was traveling at speed, the instantaneous miles per gallon fluctuated like it did before I added the BG 44K at around 21 to 23 miles per gallon. And then when certain places when I had the cruise pretty well set, it was getting all the way up to even like 24 miles per gallon. So given that it was averaging 19.5 miles per gallon before I added the additive, and now even with the horrible traffic, the average is down to 20.1 miles per gallon. It was up to 20.5 miles per gallon, so that's like a 1 mile per gallon increase overall after the treatment and putting fresh fuel into the car. So it did have a noticeable difference, but given that this is an 11-year-old car, there are other factors that affect the gas mileage. So I'm not going to per se say that the stuff didn't work well, because it did something. It definitely increased the gas mileage noticeably. And as far as, was it worth what I paid for it? That's subjective, because it could have been that my gas condition was not horrible in the first place, so I didn't see a significant increase, but it did increase. So I have to chalk it up for just routine maintenance. Some things you're not going to recoup the cost of what you paid for the product over a short period of time. It's long. I look at it as long-term maintenance. That if I hadn't have put the stuff in the car, it would have progressively kept getting worse. So now I've kind of put a stop on the degradation of the fuel system. So there's other things I could be doing that would have affected the fuel system, like the plugs. I did put a new air filter in, and of course, the transmission could be aging or slipping. I might need to change the transmission fluid. So there are many variables. So my overall evaluation: does it work? Yes. Was it worth it? That's up to each individual person. To me, it was worth it, in that I did see a noticeable difference. And would I recommend a person getting it? It depends. If if you notice a decline in a short period of time in your fuel mileage, it might be worth it to you. But if you've been getting, say, 20 miles per gallon consistently and it hasn't really changed much, probably not worth doing. But I did notice a little bit of decline in the mileage of this car over the years. It was getting, averaging 22 miles per gallon, and it slowly degraded down to 19.5, and now it's back up to 20. But again, like I said, it could be different variables going on. But anyway, that's all I got. Would I recommend it for my situation? Yes. All right, later.